I don't know about you, but everything that I have learned about the Smith family has generally been against my own will. No pun intended. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith, and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. Today's candle is caramel brulee latte. I know it's technically a winter candle, but I'm in a caramel mood, therefore caramel is what I am smelling right now. That sounds really weird of me to say, but hi, hello. I feel like most people, whenever they think of Will Smith and Jada Smith's relationship as one of the most prominent Black families in Hollywood, is kind of slowly falling apart each and every day that the internet exists, it feels like. However, typically whenever there's drama with families that are important, it's usually something about infidelity with the husband. However, in this case, and an interesting case that is that the reason the family is falling apart, at least according to the internet and Willow Smith, is because of the mom and not the typical patriarch of the family, which I find really interesting. And it's honestly funny because even there's literally a trend on TikTok right now where the song No Role Models by J. Cole. Essentially there's a line in the song where he goes, I want a real love, a dark skinned Aunt Viv love, a Jada and that Will love. And people have been muting that part of the song, and people have been saying the meaning of this lyric always changes. It gets more and more in depth every single year, And do you have anything you want to say? Okay, great commentary there, Bronx. All that aside, I feel like that, in a way, every person knows where they were the second that they saw Will Smith smack Chris Rock on live television. And personally for me, I had worked 9 hours, and I was taking a bath, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and I see a video surface of Chris Rock and Will Smith's little tussle. But it's interesting because I find that everyone's talking about this slap, and I'm not going to tell you my opinions on it, mostly because it's weeks old now, so there's kind of no point in me telling you what my opinion is. But I will just say, on a base surface level thought, it is probably objectively wrong to slap someone in the face on live television, because well, not even the live television part, because I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I think that's considered as assault. I could be wrong though, but violence is something that's very common in the Black community as a whole, and that is my only take on this situation. The reason why Will Smith got all high and mighty and slapped Chris Rock was because Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Smith's bald head and called her G.I. Jane. Now, Jada has alopecia, and that can be very hurtful. But also Jada has also said that she doesn't care about how people talk about her bald head. And I think that since, the weeks have been going by, people have been kind of demonizing Jada Pinkett Smith. And I personally think that it's interesting. And the internet's just going in on her, calling her a master manipulator, saying that she has Will in the sunken place, just all of these little comments. So I kind of wanted to just go and do a deep dive into Jada Pinkett Smith and her presence online and why people think that she is the worst woman ever. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. So, who is Jada Pinkett Smith? Now, Jada was born on September 18th in 1971 in Baltimore, Maryland. And that means she's a Virgo, which doesn't necessarily mean anything for the sake of this video, but I want you to know that she's a Virgo. So I was introduced to Jada Smith when she was in Scream 2. If you don't know, I am a Scream fanatic. I love those movies. I will watch them at least once a year, and I will just, not during Halloween though, a random day in July, because I love Scream so much. So I was introduced to Jada then, and I have since been kind of acknowledged, I know of her existence, especially with recent events, which I will get into later in the video. But what's interesting about Jada is that she started out acting, and this is kind of the main issue people have with Jada is that people believe that she is actually in love with Tupac and nobody will ever be good enough for her. So she kind of emasculates Will every single day and cheats on him because she wants Tupac, and she's not going to get Tupac because he's dead, allegedly. And even it's honestly really depressing. Willow wrote a letter to the believed to be alive Tupac about asking him to come back so that her family can like be together, which is God so depressing because she was like 8 when she wrote that. Really, really sad stuff, you know? She began her acting career in 1990. She starred in an episode of True Colors, and I feel like it's kind of sucks because I feel like I can talk about Will Smith without Jada, but I can't talk about Jada without also talking about her relationship with Tupac, which even when I was younger, I would think like, oh yeah, Jada was supposed to be with Tupac, but he was, you know, I need to stop being so animated. You know it's 7 a.m. right now when I'm filming this. But I feel like it's interesting that amongst people online, people that know of the Smiths, are kind of under this general consensus that Jada and Will are not supposed to be together, but they have 2 amazing kids who are very talented and great. But I think that when we think about Jada Smith, we see like she is a Black woman, she is Haitian and African American, and she is gorgeous, literally stunning. And it's just interesting that this one little lady has such a hold on the internet right now, and it's interesting, and I kind of wanted to get more into it, so this is kind of the next section of the video. Now, in my notes right now, I have it titled as a real life femme fatale. I don't know if I truly, deep down in my soul, think that Jada is a femme fatale, because some people say that's a negative thing. I think you can just embrace your dark femininity and keep pushing, but a femme fatale is generally a woman who is very, very attractive, who uses her good looks to seduce and manipulate men. And some argue that any man that a femme fatale character will come in contact with, by just knowing her, their lives will be ruined or they will be manipulated, you know, all of these things just by being in association with a woman who happens to be in this femme fatale umbrella. Now, when thinking about Jada Smith, I would say that when people on the internet characterize her, now no one, I don't believe, has said she's a femme fatale, but I can see with my own 2 eyes that that's kind of what they're characterizing her as. Also a combination of the, what is it, the Sapphic caricature, where like woman telling man what to do, Black woman, angry type of vibes. I don't know, kind of, I guess is what I'm kind of seeing. And I think that people, for instance, when Will Smith did the slip slap, people were basically saying that Jada was controlling him, Jada was manipulating him, and Will Smith is kind of just like there and Jada's controlling him. And I think that it's interesting in terms of dynamics between Black couples in general, where it's in the Black community that women are in control of their men and marriage ruins the straights and, you know, all of this stuff. Examples of femme fatales in literature or in TV shows or movies would be like, for instance, Amy Dunn in Gone Girl, Jennifer in Jennifer's Body, Catwoman in most of the Batman movies. Also like Black Widow from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then lastly, Cassie from Promising Young Women, which if you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It is such a good movie. Do I think that Jada Smith is actively trying to manipulate her husband, and do I think that she made him go on stage and slap Chris Rock? No, because Will Smith is a grown man. He is not in this sunken place. He has abilities to move his own limbs, and she is not, you know, telling him do this or I'm gonna cheat on you again. You know, like, I don't think that that's what Jada is kind of like, and I don't think that's, but also it's not my relationship. But when you think about femme fatale, you say that she's like seductive, she's, you know, tricking these men into doing things that she wants. And I think that we characterize women like this, and it can be, I feel like it's not a bad thing, because I think if you are so gorgeous that men are gonna do what you want, then that's not your fault and you should exploit it. I'm kidding. But I don't think it's like your fault for like men wanting to do things for you. I think that's just kind of like what happens. That's how Coco Chanel became Coco Chanel. But I think that Jada in general is not this horrible woman that the internet characterizes her as. And this leads me into unconventional family structures, which is a section title of this section. Now, Jada has said that she is open to being in an open marriage. Will, I don't think ever wanted to be in one, but was kind of forced into one. And, you know, you can either just accept it or you're just getting cheated on. And it's interesting because I find that being in open marriages and open relationships is something that is so common now. Like for me personally, there are people that I went to high school with or that I know that are in polyamorous relationships or in open relationships and are open to inviting other people into your relationship, because some people, it's really hard for them to just stay with one person for the rest of their life, you know, which is a very hard thing to ask because a lot of other mammals are not monogamous. They just move around, they keep on going. Like it's like literally the rest of the animal kingdom, aside from a couple animals, is like for the streets. But for some reason for us, and it could be religion or morals or whatever, that we are just like, yeah, we're going to stay with one person and we're going to be with that one person. But that's not how every person feels. So objectively, so many people in Hollywood are in these types of relationships. But there's an issue of like trust. And I think that, at least this is what I have observed from her talking forever on her TV show, that you have to have both parties consent to an open relationship. And I don't think Will was ever really able to give his consent. It was basically like, I'm going to do this. You know, like that one movie, oh God, what is it? I like just watched it on Hulu with Ben Affleck, where he's like with the girl who's like similar to Jada. But as we all know, as we were all stuck at home being sensible about the pandemic in July of 2020, it was announced, found out, claimed, I don't know how it started, but that Jada Smith had been in a long relationship with August. What is his last name? I don't know what his last name is. It doesn't really matter either. One of Jaden Smith's friends. Now, I think, and it was like since 2013 to like 2019, I think, or 2020, something like that. And people were like, wow, Will, you're literally letting her do that and like all this stuff or whatever. And again, open relationships, open marriages are a thing, and it can be very, very successful. We found out that Jada was cheating on Will. She was in an entanglement, quote unquote, with August because she hadn't felt good in a really, really long time. And to be fair, Jada and Will were kind of separated, you know, kind of like that before your parents get divorced. So they kind of are separated for a couple years and then they get a divorce. Well, they never got a divorce. They did end up getting back together. And it's interesting because you can tell that Will just really loves Jada and wants to be with her, and he's in interviews talked about how much he loved her. It's hard when you have two kids and you are in a relationship that on the surface looks very loving and happy, but if you're unhappy, then like don't cheat on them, just get a divorce or separate, and then don't, you know, do that weird in between, you know, don't go with them to award shows, you know, just separate yourself, because that's the only way that you can, you know, further move on and heal from said relationship. We'll talk about how the internet portrays Jada. It's like Jada's evil for wanting an open marriage. She's horrible for wanting to, you know, have other things. She's all of these things characterized. And you see that, like, obviously Will isn't the one that cheated on her. But we see in the media a lot of times that men cheat on their wives like clockwork, especially in Hollywood. And we don't see this much hatred towards them, or maybe it's just because like I'm a Black woman, so when I see other Black women under situations, I am more inclined to pay attention to it. But I feel like that, for instance, Future has like 8 baby mamas and people expect him to cheat on you. We expect, you know, rappers or actors or directors or any man in the industry to cheat on you. It's like, if you have the assumption that they're not going to, then you're going into it wrong, you know, which is sad. But it's like, when you see women who are in the same positions, you don't think they're going to cheat on you. You think that they're going to be loyal. And I think that that's a weird double standard, because like anybody can cheat, but also people are only going to cheat if they want to. It's not something that you can or cannot control. It's something that you do yourself. So with all of this to say, Will has said many times that Jada herself grew up in an unconventional marriage structure with her parents and has been around that her whole life. So it's natural that she would want to do that in her own life, which, you know, who's to say? I wasn't there when Jada was, you know, a child. But generally, my thoughts are that it's not Jada's fault for wanting an unconventional marriage structure. Her fault is that she didn't consult her partner with that before she started just doing it. You know, I think that's the biggest thing, is like trust. And as you can see with the Smiths, trust is like no longer a thing. And that leads me into the last topic of today's video, which is like, do we really need to know what's happening in your marriage? Jada has this talk show called Red Table Talk. It's on Facebook Watch. I've watched a couple episodes, but they honestly just are like, here's why I hate my husband and you should too. Not really, that's like not really what it is, but it's like you can see whenever Jada brings up Will, it's like she's talking about a distant cousin that she hates. It's like Kanye West talking about his cousin that stole his laptop and then made him pay him $20,000 to get his laptop back. Like, it's like she doesn't like him, and it feels like watching her show that she doesn't like him, and it's very awkward for her kids. And I remember specifically how Jada was talking to Gwyneth Paltrow and her mom about how Will wasn't performing sexually well for her, but then she made a tweet like, I never said that, but she implied it, you know? And I think that when you are a celebrity, your privacy is limited. However, I think that if you are a celebrity, you can choose to like have a relationship how you want to. You know, if you want to let the world know that your husband cheated on you or your wife cheated on you, or that you just got in an argument last night, that is your discretion. You know, it's your relationship. However, I just feel like that we do not need to know the in-depth details of your marriage. I should not know about how you cheated on your husband with August. I shouldn't know that your children were writing to Tupac asking Tupac to come back so that your mom would be happy. You know, I shouldn't know any of that stuff. For me as a consumer, my base knowledge should just be, yeah, Jada and Will Smith, they're a married couple. They have 2 kids. You're both actors. Move on. There shouldn't be so much knowledge. And it's kind of just like that, like with YouTube relationships, you know, some YouTubers, their relationships are so public. Others, like Emma Chamberlain and Role Model, very like, you know, they're dating, but they don't actively, you know, post things of them making out and stuff like that, you know. But there are also relationships like Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker, where they are so affectionate and so in your face, and you're like, geez, I really didn't need to see this. So it's really up to the discretion of the person. But I think that on the surface level, we really shouldn't be knowing. You see celebrities and you just see them as these other level of people, when in reality they are just like us, you know. So I can understand celebrities wanting to make themselves seem more personable. Will Smith has been on YouTube for years now, and he has been on such a journey with his mental health, and he has just been showing so much of his life on YouTube, and I think it's a perfect platform for him, and I think that's great. With all of that aside, I think that we just shouldn't know about your relationships, and I think that Jada has a really bad habit of letting everybody know all of her relationship drama, and then I'm not gonna say gets upset, but gets upset when people call her out and say like, hey, this type of thinking is toxic. Like, she literally said with her whole chest that she thinks the boundaries are stupid, essentially, and that when people try to make boundaries with her, she gets actively angry. That is toxic. That is future. That is why would you admit that? Because that's just telling everybody that you're toxic. Like, because like, why would you not accept boundaries? That's literally the foundation of relationships, but for some reason you're just better than them. I don't know what it is, but all that aside, tell me your thoughts on Jada. Do you think that she's a master manipulator, or do you think she's just a woman that happens to be in a weird, sticky situation? I'm really curious. I wanted to talk about this because I have been seeing for weeks people just ripping into Jada and headlines about Jada and about how, but it's like Jada in relation to Will, but it's like so much worse for Jada, and Jada isn't even the one that slapped someone on stage. Like, it's like opening a can of worms. Like, remember when Jada did this? Remember when Jada did that? And it's like, bro, Yes, she can be toxic, as I mentioned previously, but do I think that that makes her a horrible person that deserves to be drug across the mud on social media when she hasn't, like she cheated on her husband, which kind of sucks. But I think that characterizing her as such a horrible person, like, I think that there is so many more layers to people, and I think that what you see online is like not what a person is. I won't say we shouldn't talk about it because I think it's an interesting case to discuss, but I think that we don't know someone, so why give them massive amounts of hate and calling them all these things and saying that they're manipulators when you've never seen them manipulate somebody? Have you seen her do that? No, you assume that she is, whether it's due to racism, misogyny, or the femme fatale type of thing. But with all that said, comment down below your opinions. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it helps little channels like mine. Make sure to also subscribe to me because I am like reaching towards 7K, which is weird because I just hit 6K like last month. So this is really fast for me. I'm not used to this, but if you want to subscribe to me, please do. I'm a fun time over here, I guess. But I guess with all that said, make sure to stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.